Good morning, all. Hopefully, you can all hear us. And welcome to Tuesday, 19th of November, Rugby Chat. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
G'day, Rabs. Yeah, good, thanks. How you going?
Well, when you leave the grass to grow up to your neck and you go, I better get this sorted out for the summer, you go out, you hit it hard, and you end up getting a bit of heat stroke. So, a couple of beers drunk responsibly might have sort of kept me going for the whole day on Sunday, but no, it's still recovering. So, I should do a bit more exercise.
Flip, slop, and slap, mate.
Oh, totally. Bit
Yeah.
red. Hey, this is New Zealand, and we're coming into summer, so time to fix the pool, get the barbie ready, and sit back and watch some rugby from the Northern Hemisphere. And, wow, let's just jump straight into it. The All Blacks. Okay, everyone's having a word about it. Should they have taken the penalty, yes or no?
Yes. No, they should have gone to the corner, I think.
Yeah, I mean, two trains of thought there, isn't it? He could have gone for the corner. They could have coughed up the ball. The French could have defended well. At least, though, with 1 point in it, and the way the referee, I'll re-say that, plural, referees were refereeing the game, all five of them, because it was the first time I've ever heard of the foul TMO. Don't know where he or she popped up from in the world of rugby, but it's the likelihood was they could have got a penalty, but the problem was they couldn't get it at the right end of the field, and that's what sort of mucked it up. Also, there were 10 points there the French did get that were opportunist from our mistakes. So I think, though, the whole occasion was awesome. The haka, wow, that had to be the best haka I've seen displayed in 30 years. That was magnificent, the way the French made it out to be like a theatre, spotlight on the two teams. That sent bloody goosebumps down the spine, I reckon.
Yeah, no, that haka was pretty cool. It's a big thing over in France, the way they respect the haka and quiet and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I think the All Blacks probably should have won it, but the French, they were up for the occasion. In those last few minutes, they pinned us down in our 22, and we just couldn't quite get out. And then Will Jordan got held up, and that was the final act of the play. But I thought Cam Roygard had a blinder. I think he's probably cemented himself as number one halfback. Patrick Larkey? Yeah. Peter, sorry. He had an outstanding game. He's only 21-year-old, but he's got the world at his feet. That boy.
Oh, totally. And the way he stole that ball, that just where did that come from? That was a total thief in the night, wasn't it? But that was a DuPont special. It was a DuPont special. Gave them back a bit of their own medicine. But I mean, we would be remiss not to talk about some of the refereeing decisions in that game. Why? Because we can't get fined by World Rugby for saying it was a load of bollocks. Because when you saw that neck roll by Tuivasa on the Frenchman, well, he was around his waist, around his midriff, up the top here. And the only way he ended up getting a neck roll was when the guy who was already offside over the top of the ruck got cleared out. And not only did the Frenchman get cleared out, but so did Tuivasa. So how Tuivasa implemented a neck roll, please explain, World Rugby, how that became a thing.
Yeah, well, I think that was a very dubious call, and I think it came from the TMO because the ref let it play for a long time, and play ended up on the far side of the field, and then all of a sudden he awarded the penalty and said neck roll, and I thought, oh, here we go. But there were some pretty dubious decisions made by that ref. I actually I actually flicked it over in between. Watched it on the alternative commentary radio show, and they nicknamed him the Dracula. That referee, I thought it was quite funny.
Yes, the Georgian guy. I'm not even going to attempt his name, but I mean, hey, people who are watching, if you got any comments about how you thought that game went, and if we're talking rubbish, just put it in the comments. You know the drill, and we'll try to answer you. But yeah. So, but otherwise, New Zealand, they made mistakes. We're not making excuses for losing the game. All we need to do now is smash them 3-0 next year when the French come to New Zealand and tour with apparently a second string squad. But the thing is, it's France. You can never take them lightly, eh?
Yeah, no, I think France have got a lot of up and coming players, like that winger that scored that try. You know, he's fast, and yeah, obviously Ramos, he had a blinder, didn't miss any. He's pretty good off the boot, but no, just take the loss and move on, I think.
Yeah, well, there'll be one unhappy Frenchman away. Rumia bloody kicked those goals, and that will be Jelly Beer. I think, yeah, you just say Jelly Beer, and I think you're right getting his name. It's probably Jalay Burt or something. I don't know. But for him to turn around and go, oh, I don't want to sit on the bench. Well, the French coach, Gelthy, went, okay, see you later. And he left the squad. So, I mean, you know, these days, even if you're on the bench, you know, you know you're going to get half a game somewhere. And so that was just ridiculous. But I suppose if we look at our bench, I mean, they did okay, but is Cortez Ratama up to it yet?
I'm not too sure. I think, I'm definitely in the Cam Roigard camp, but I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure why they took Cam Roigard off, and mind you, Anton Dupont got subbed at one stage as well. And I think he might have even come back on in the dying stages of the game. But some substitution balls there that were a bit questionable. But I'm not the coach, so.
Yeah, I think you saw the same bit that I saw when the dude came on, and it looked like Dupont was going off. But actually, Dupont just moved to fullback, and the French scrum half came in, and then that other guy moved to first five, and Dupont moved down to fullback. Caught me by surprise. I thought he had gone off as well. But yeah, but then I suppose we look at the other results from the weekend. I mean, everyone's had their 5 cents worth of the All Blacks. I just say, well, okay, we'll look forward now to playing the Italians at Juventus, which will be an interesting one. Will we see TJ Perenara start the game? He's been on a nice, as Jeff Wilson would put it, on the food bill, just on a nice European trip. You think he might start against the Italians this weekend?
Yeah, I heard a wee whisper that they might give both TJ and Sam starting for this last test. Obviously, it's their last game. So we're bound to either see them start or come off the bench, and I think it'll be good to give Sam Cane the captaincy in his last test as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how many farewells do we have to have in rugby?
No, it just dragged on and on a bit, doesn't it?
I just feel like he finished 2 years ago. And I've always, ever since he was, age grade All Black, I've been a fan of Sam Cane, but I say, look, just go to Japan, take the check, and we'll thank you for your service. You know what I mean? In the good old American way of talking, thank you for your service. I think the Italians will be basically shitting themselves, because I tell you what, over the weekend, they only got up by 20 points to 17 over Georgia. And I watched that game with intensity, because it was almost, to me, a promotion relegation match to keep a few of these Six Nations people quiet about, Georgia coming into the Six Nations. But based on that performance and only a 3-point win, Georgia could have had that, and they've just proven again how close to that Six Nations they are. But it will be interesting to see how the Italians get up. I mean, you've got to remember, we put 90-plus points on them at the World Cup last year. At the home of Juventus, famous Italian football club. Do you think the ABs will be aiming for that 100 mark in the final test of the year to go, 11-4 for the season?
I think the All Blacks. I think the All Blacks should put at least 60 points on them. To be fair.
I hope that's not the South Canterbury Armed Defenders Squad outside with their sniper rifles.
I've just seen a black. I've just seen a black cat, bloody, just shoot across the thing there. My cat's gone to chase it away. So, yeah, the Battle of the Panthers.
Oh well, you are down there where apparently the Black Panther lives, isn't it? Down Ashburton way.
So, the back of Mayfield,
yeah. Yeah. But so Georgia, as I said though, I thought they played really well. I mean, who they got this weekend? I do have that all set up ready to go later in the show. They do have blah 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 blah. I'll just very quickly come through to this. They've got the Tongans this weekend, which will be an awesome game to see. But yeah, I think Italy will be sort of a bit worried because, I mean, when you look at how Italy have progressed since Crowley left, and was it Contapone, who's now the coach? They started doing okay, but I feel like they're going backwards, the Azzurri. Are you getting that vibe that they're not really coming through or making any sort of progress?
I think they took the foot off the gas a little bit with Georgia. They were actually lucky to win that. I thought they would have won it by more, but I'm not too sure. But as for the Aussie and Wales game, well, that might have just ended Warren Gatland's tenure at Wales, I think.
Well, he is on contract. They don't have the money to, I'd say, pay him out. If I quickly try and get back to some of these results from the weekend. Oh, where are we? October, November. Oh, here we go. Yeah. What was that final score at the end of the day? Yeah. I mean, for a while there, the Welsh were in it. But then, the Aussies went into second gear and just blew them off the park. I mean, if anyone's happy at the moment, when you look at how the Australians have gone, 42-37 over England. Then they put up their third highest ever score against the Welsh at Cardiff. Scotland, who they've got next up, they only got up. They got up by 59-21 over Portugal, who showed up at Murrayfield last weekend. But now they're welcoming a Wallabies side who've got their tails up because, I mean, they win that and they're on for a Grand Slam attempt against the Irish, which will be a humdinger of a game in Dublin. But it's sort of like Warren Gatland. I mean, the problem with the Welsh rugby, it's quite easy to blame the coach. It always is. Oh, it's the coach's fault. Now, I'm not defending Gatland at all, but the thing is, he had a tenure there. He went off, did wonderful things with the Lions, came back to New Zealand, got called in an SOS from the Welsh to go back. And one of the first things he said was, we've got to sort out the grassroots of rugby in Wales. They're forever changing it up. Like they've gone away from the Llanelli, the Newport, teams like that, to have the Scarlets and a combined Cardiff team and all this rubbish, trying to make up a thing like, what do you call it? Super Rugby. Mainly because of the, what do you call it? The URC championship over there. But the thing is, you look at it and you go, where is, what happened to clubs like Llanelli, and Newport, who would give the All Blacks a run for their money in the old tours, Yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it. I feel sorry for the Welsh because, they're as much a rugby country as New Zealand. But I can't see them winning, and I can't see them winning for a while because when you look at who they've got next, next week they've got, after this weekend, this weekend they've got South Africa. Well, that's going to be a hiding, even though a few years ago they did upset South Africa, but you can't see that repeating itself. And then, then they're straight into the Six Nations, as far as I'm aware. So it's, will he be gone by Christmas? Probably. But then who's going to come through and take his place? It's the old saying. You've got to have someone in the sidelines waiting to take over. And I've heard nothing through the Welsh media who they're saying should take over from Gatland.
Yeah, well, they done a TV interview with him, I think, the other day, and he pretty much conceded that if he has to go to make Welsh rugby better, well, he's prepared to go. But I think the Aussies are looking pretty dangerous. I mean, Joe Schmidt seems to have got them going pretty good at the moment. They're looking really good, and that game against Ireland is going to be one hell of a game.
Oh, totally. And I didn't actually realise it, but Schmidt is not signed till the next World Cup.
Right.
So the Australians better do something quick and sign him. Because, you can't, why would you even give a guy a contract to go, we'll see how you go, and then maybe get rid of him after a bad year, 2 years out from a World Cup, just say, for example. What if the British and Irish Lions go down there next year, come down here and smash the Australians? Does that mean they get rid of Schmidt? I don't think so. But based on what we've seen so far, I think the British and Irish Lions in Australia next year are in for a hell of a shock.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them Rugby Australia sign Joe Schmidt. To be fair, I can't see why they won't. But I'm picking the only reason they've done that is because of the last coach. Obviously they had a bad run, so they're just testing the waters. But yeah, he seems to be going all right at the moment.
Oh, totally. But then, we're sitting here going, poking fingers at Gatland. What about Borthwick at England? I mean, my God, Homer Rugby can't win a game. Who have they got up next? The English. They've got Japan. How good would it be for Eddie Jones to show up at Twickenham and do a Brighton on the English and get up over them?
Oh, wouldn't that be funny? I thought the English were unlucky not to win that, but there was some incredible rugby played by the Springboks, particularly their outside backs, Cheslin Colby and the other one, I can't pronounce his name. But Sia Khaleesi leading from the front like all good skippers do. But yeah, I thought England were unlucky not to win that game, and I'm picking that Steve Borthwick's a bit worried at the moment as well.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, and we shouldn't be having to talk about this, looking at games after a weekend, but again, TMO interfered with that match. They had dubious neck rolls. They called back a forward pass that, to me, was never forward. I mean, the ball was thrown, and if you look at the replay, you'll see the 10-metre line, right? And he throws it in front of the 10-metre, or just on the 10-metre line. The guy that receives it behind the 10-metre line. So even if it did come forward out of his hands, it's still, the momentum of it still went backwards. And the guy still caught it behind where he threw it from. So, World Rugby, hopefully now we've got an Australian in charge of World Rugby. They might, they've got to do something, because it's interfering. We've spoken about this all year. A try is scored. You think, yay, it's like the Cam Roigard try. I got excited. I went, wow. And then I stopped because I was waiting to listen for the check, TMO, come back. Oh, you came offside by a pubic hair too far. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of comments on social media saying the TMO should only be used if he's called on by the referee, but the TMO is having far too much influence in these games. He's getting in the referee's ear, quite often after he spotted something. But that tackle in the Welsh Aussie game, that tackle that resulted in the red card, I thought that was a fair decision.
Yeah.
But
but then that was picked up as foul play, right? Not what I mean. I still go back, and I'm glad the roadie's not on with us today, because I go back a couple of seasons ago at Sky Stadium here in Wellington, Crusaders Hurricanes. We were on our 10-metre line defending like nothing. We get the ball off the Crusaders. We go halfway up the field. 5-10 minutes later, over we go. I think it might have even been Adi Savia that went over for the try in that game. And we were all, yay, this is awesome. Only for them to drag it all the way back because the TMO saw something happen. It was like they'd gone through about 20 phases of rugby. And it's just like, that's what turned me off a little bit for a bit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you can't get much more ardent rugby follower than myself, really. And for something that would just turn, I can still clearly see that whole play. That's how bad of a decision it was, because they did bring in a rule that they're only meant to go back 1 or 2 phases. We're going back 5-6 phases thing. A phase is ball in, ball out, boom. Anything that happened 3 or 4 phases ago, that's history. Let it go, unless it was a major clear out like Brian O'Driscoll, But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I think, if Japan get up, we'll see a movie about it, and Timurura Morrison will play Eddie Jones again. But yeah, I don't know. It will be interesting. The other big match on, which is on Saturday morning, New Zealand time, Friday night in Europe, is of course France-Argentina. Now, the reason I'm bringing up all these games, right, is, and I did say I was going to bring this up, on our other site, rugbyredefined.com, since about 2012, 2013, something like that, over 10 years anyway, we've been doing the world rankings, because we figured it out how World Rugby did the world rankings. Now, everyone has a bitch moan about it, because if their team has gone up or down, or they don't pick up many points, they want to know, this is a load of rubbish. Now, the points that we got here are the points that World Rugby just posted this morning that we posted yesterday. Of course, New Zealand, as you can see there, I'll just see if I can blow that up, have dropped down to third place, even though, we only lost by 1. But then people are saying, why is France not ahead? Well, easy. We had more points than them, and we didn't lose that many points on the loss. So a lot of people are saying, how does it work? So, in my wisdom, I have gone ahead and I've gone and pulled up games that are on this weekend, right? To try to explain to people how it works. So we've got the big, huge game on between Morocco and Botswana in Africa. This game's on Thursday, New Zealand time. And you'll see there that if Morocco win, I'll just bring this down a bit so you can see. They're on 46 points, okay? The easiest way to work out how any points are made is you look at the ranking points between the two teams. Morocco's on 46, Botswana's on 36. There is a 10-point gap. If there is such a big gap, the only team that can pick up any points would be Botswana. Now, you can only win 3 points. Now, if it was a Rugby World Cup game, these games are, or a Rugby World Cup final game, the points are doubled. So, for example, if this was a Rugby World Cup finals game, Botswana, if they win by more than 15, would get 6 points, 4 points, 1 point for a draw, and Morocco would get nothing because they're already miles ahead of Botswana, right? So this is how it would work. So if Botswana won by more than 15 on Thursday, they would go from being at 36.2 up to 39.21. So people go, who cares about these teams? Well, I do. Madagascar, Cameroon. I can guarantee you now, Madagascar, in either not the next World Cup, but the World Cup after that, will be at the World Cup. Amazing. They get 80,000 people at home games. 80,000 people.
Yeah, it's a solid effort, isn't it?
It's crazy, eh? So this game against Cameroon, which will be in, I think it's called Antananarivo, the capital of Madagascar. See, we're a geography show too. And they're not all lemurs, by the way, in Madagascar. And they don't sing their animals. But anyway, Cameroon go into this, but again, they're over 10 points. See? So there's a 23-point gap. So if Madagascar win, they don't get anything. It comes down to the visiting side. So we then come to the game on Saturday. We've got Argentina playing France in Paris. So you'll see there's a bit of a difference there. So France are ahead of Argentina. There is a 3-point gap between the two teams. So you'll see instead of if Argentina won by more than 15, they would get 3 points. It's weighted on the away team, on the away team's favour. So if they won, they'll get 2.3 points. And if they win the game, they'll go ahead of France. But if France win, even though they're ahead, they only pick up a bit of a thank you for coming point. Half a point here, half a point there. So it all comes down to where they're placed on the table. So if people go, oh, but France smashed the Argentinians, how come they're still in fourth place? Well, the other games to be played. So, example, even though I brought it up, we've got Croatia playing Lithuania, we've got Spain playing USA. So this one's a bit closer. So you got Spain on 67 points and USA on 68. Now, if Spain beat USA by more than 15, they will go ahead of USA on the points table, because if Spain win, they get 1.32 points. But that also means if they win, USA would lose 1.32 points. So it's give and take between the two teams. It's not based on the entirety of on the table. It is the two teams exchanging points on where they finish. Hopefully that makes sense. So we look at the Irish game. So Ireland, miles ahead. What are they now? Second. Fiji, 10th, I think they are, 9th or 10th. But there is a good 10-point gap there again. And again, 10-point gap means if Ireland win, they pick up no bonus points. If the Fijians win or draw, they will pick up points. Now, the result, if it's a draw, is based on Ireland. So Ireland would lose 1 point, but Fiji would pick up a point for the draw. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people will be wondering, and I'll just go straight through to it. Again, South Africa, miles ahead of Wales. Again, Africa playing for nothing, Wales playing for everything.
Yep.
And then we do the New Zealand game. So between New Zealand and Italy, there's what? Almost 10, 11 point gap. And you'll see that though the New Zealand's ahead of Italy and it's over 10 points, because if New Zealand win away from home, they can pick up a decimal point. So there are quirks to it, if that makes sense. And then if you look at the Scotland game, right, they're pretty much equal. So that comes down to a bit more closeness. And of course, you'll see there that doesn't matter. If Scotland don't win, Australia will go ahead of them and climb the table. So hopefully that has explained to a lot of people what would happen. Again, see, well over 10 points to the home team for Georgia. But if Tonga win, they'll go ahead. And then, of course, the big game, even though I just said go Japan, England are well ahead of Japan by 10 points. And Japan would go ahead. So that's how the rankings do sort of work.
That Scotland Aussie game will be an interesting too.
Oh, totally. Because I mean, they've got the crowd on their side. They've got their tails up, dots, and of course, being a good old Kiwi, we want to go Scotland, don't we?
Yep.
So even though everyone wants to be a keyboard warrior, we try and the world rankings, as far as I'm concerned, are every 4 years. All this does is go, okay, it might be good if you want to have a bet at the TAB, if you don't know which way to go. That's about it, really. So otherwise, you've got a few things you want to get off your chest today.
I was just going to give a shout out to all the Mid-Canterbury award winners from the other night. Declan McCormick, Player of the Year. Tom Recchi, most points. Ratubi Vasarakuta, Player of the Year. And Callum Brow and Fridge Williamson got Board of the Year. And I think Cal got Country Captain of the Year or something. And Southern, we come out on top. We got club Team of the Year, so that's good for a little club. And just a shout out to the three that have been nominated for the Ian Kirkpatrick Medal. Declan McCormick, Siu Kikala again, and Leki Vakarogo. So that'll be interesting to see who comes out on top of that. A shout out to Jason Forrest, who has finished his tenure at North Otago after 9 years. 9 years?
Yeah, easily several years. He's been there for, as far as I can remember, for quite a while. And he's done a lot with North Otago, been there, done that, got the T-shirt. And, but yeah, it's sort of like, and who was that bloody club that had the biggest check down in Mid-Canterbury that got the Club of the Year?
Hampstead.
Oh, what's a Hampstead?
What, they got the Bunnings?
No, just the Mid-Canterbury Club of the Year. They had the biggest checkbook. Southern.
Southern, yeah.
Congratulations to Southern. I knew there were some rich farmers down there that had a big checkbook to write the check to get the award. I got to have a dig at you, don't I?
Yeah, I'm not too sure whether us winning Club of the Year's got anything to do with us winning the Waters Cup, but I'm sure that would have been factored into calculation somewhere.
Yeah, well, and because we're talking about awards, the nominees for the rugby awards have come out this year. We've got the volunteers of the year. I mean, all rugby is based on help from volunteers. And so you got Connor Croak from Waikato, Dave Webb from Auckland, and the husband and wife team of Steve and Lisa Wild from Thames Valley, Waihi Club, who do a lot. So that'll be an interesting one to see. The three club sides of the year, you got Foxham from Horowhenua, Green Island, who I've got to go Green Island because that's where my grandmother was born in Otago, and Ponsonby Rugby Club. So I'd love to see Green Island get up after winning the championship down there in Dunedin. That will really cap off an amazing 2024 for them. But some of these awards, Community Impact Award, that's just going, as far as I'm concerned, to who's sponsoring the most of New Zealand rugby. Because to me, it's almost like a, what's the word I'm looking for there? It's almost like, thank you, just giving out gongs for giving out gongs. The Dwayne Monkley NPC Player of the Year, Tamochi Atavatanaiwai from Tasman, Falau Fakatava from Hawke's Bay, and Josh Jacob from Taranaki. I think Tamochi's got this one myself. He scored some amazing tries. The Fia Whamarusa Medal Wharapama Cup, Chelsea Simple from Waikato, Holare Mete from Manawatu, Amir Anderson from Waikato, because buddies were a little bit with Chelsea Simple and James and all that. I hope Chelsea gets up after having her baby and all that sort of stuff. And come back and win that medal would be an awesome achievement, because not only that, her husband James is up for Women's Coach of the Year with Waikato. So that's pretty cool. But the Team of the Year, I mean, we've got to also realise the fact that you've got the awards will be in Auckland. Most of the judges I'm going to guess are from Auckland. So when they go, the Lions NPC champions, Thames Valley Swamp Foxes Heartland champions, and then the Blues, you know where it's going to go, don't you?
Mm.
It's going to go to the bloody Blues for winning Super Rugby, because we've got to build up their aura of being a great team. Then you've got the Team of the Year, Women's Team of the Year, the Blues, Waikato, and Manawatu Cyclones. Well, I would go for Waikato there myself.
Definitely Waikato
over the Blues. And then, of course, there are still more awards to be announced, and we won't hear those until the 29th of November. You got the Referee of the Year. Well, that's only one person, isn't it?
Ian O'Keefe, probably.
100%. What a legend! What a bloody. He just keeps. He's like an Energizer battery. He's just a great referee all around. You got your Super Rugby Player of the Year. Well, that'll go to some Blues. You got the Super Rugby All Picky Player of the Year. That'll go to some chick from the Blues. The Tom French Memorial Maori Player of the Year. Oh, there's half a dozen that could put their hands up for that one. The Sevens Player of the Year, again, sort of not a great year for Sevens, but it would be hard to sort of pick who's going to win that. Sevens Player of the Women's Blackfern Sevens Player of the Year. Well, that will have to be, in my thought and theory, be Michaela Blyde. Blackfern's Player of the Year, again, don't know. But who would be your All Black of the Year?
My All Black of the Year?
Yeah.
Patrick Tuipulotu.
Really?
Or Wallace Atiti, one of the two.
Wow. I would have gone with Cameron Wigard for the amount of rugby that he's played this year and the way he's come back. But would you probably lean towards Damien McKenzie or Scott Barrett, the captain?
Yeah, you could put could put D-Mac or Roygaard in there. Yeah, I mean, there's any number of players that could probably take that award out. It's going to be interesting to see who wins it.
It'll be interesting to see who they finally nominate for the, who the nominations are, because, you look at it and you go, okay, well, how do you pick the best of 30, or 35? And then what if Duplessis Carifi comes on this weekend, gives Artie a rest against the Italians, as a blinder? Leads Wellington to the NPC, leads the All Black 15s to a couple of victories, and then scores a hat trick of tries against the Italians. Is that not an all-round player who should be looking for, future honours? So, but yeah, that's about it, really. 40 minutes of talking shit on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
So all the sevens are on around the country still. A shout out to the Central Region. Get your act together. We've got Wellington, Manawatu, and Hawke's Bay, with maybe Wanganui, who showed up last year but then pulled out overnight before the first game. They're charging teams $400 just to enter the competition for one day.
Crazy, isn't it?
Why are they charging? I mean, literally, I know of a couple of Heartland unions that aren't going because they said by the time they pay their entry fee, by the time they get all the boys together who haven't played rugby in a month, and maybe then go up on the Friday night, say, and then have accommodation, feed them, have, hire vans paid for, etc. like that, to go to get smashed by a NPC side and then come home on Saturday night. It's not worth their time. And unless a lot of these unions actually start putting together a bit more sevens programs, maybe they would. But I want to see back in New Zealand the national sevens, whether it be in Rotorua, Timbuktu, New Plymouth, Wellington, Queenstown, don't care where. Have it at Ruatoria. There you go. Send the bloody national sevens to Ruatoria. Send it to Gisborne. Send it, to the stadium in Christchurch. But I tell you, ever since they've stopped the national sevens, sure, they've got these regional ones happening now, but really, who cares about the Fijian Methven side, who are playing the Fijian Hampstead side, who are playing the Fijian Southern side? We want to see Mid Canterbury play South Canterbury play North Otago. Not these made up teams. I won't mention the union, but one union basically said all we need to do is we can always grab 8 Fijian guys who play club rugby in our province and call them our team. Because, Fijians will play sevens rugby anywhere, anytime, any day of the week, right? They're good at it. But they have to bring back the sevens national comp. Why they moved it out of Queenstown in the first place and moved it to Rotorua where no one went, don't know. Because every time you watched it in Queenstown, they had a crowd. Why not move it to Auckland, to our national stadium? Or even have it.
Or even Wellington.
Well, I've played rugby at Porirua Park in a tournament thing in tens, and that was a great weekend, right? So, and everything was set up well. I mean, so there are other places around that will do it. And, I mean, it's sort of like even every year move it around. Have it in Blenheim one year, at Lansdowne Park. Have it in town. Send it over the coast to bloody John Sturgeon Park. Have a calendar of sevens tournaments every year, because I tell you what, if we continue down this track, I don't believe the New Zealand sevens team are going to get any stronger, because they're not in the talent that they used to at these competitions. Craig the Goldie, he got picked by Gordon Titchens playing for West Coast back in the day at the Nationals. You know, yeah. I mean, we could go on forever, but I just know that one there because that one's firmly in my head.
Yeah,
but what I mean,
I'm still waiting for the West Coast Heartland Rugby Awards to pop up. I haven't seen anything online from that side of the hill yet.
Okay, so if Mike Lash is listening to this show, please, Mike, if we have awards, the world want to know because they don't normally have awards. Well, they do, but they don't. They have a lot of club stuff, but not. It's very rare. Buller have announced their awards for the year, and of course, what was his name? Ellis. And, Ellis got the Player of the Year.
Yeah, Anthony Ellis. Yeah.
Yeah. So well deserved too, and hopefully he'll be back for another season. But yeah, I mean, this is the time of the city season, award season. We're at the end of a long All Black campaign, moving into Christmas, following all the European stuff. So you'll have to start putting your, what do you call it? Homework in is to keep an eye on what's happening in Europe, because when we carry on the show over the summer, we'll be talking a lot of European and Major League Rugby stuff. So, yeah. But that's about it. Now I'm just talking to fill in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time for another coffee. And go and enjoy this day. I think we're heading for about 23 degrees down here today, so it's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, well, we've got the Hikoi here in Wellington today. It's great to see a few of our friends come down and buy their car from Auckland on their Hikoi. They did get out and take a couple of walks a couple of times and then jump back in the car, so they got a few steps in. But it's a bit sort of, wow, it's meant to be a lovely day here in Wellington today, but looking out the window, the clouds starting to roll in a bit, so hopefully it does this afternoon. But to everyone watching, thank you for watching. As I said, it gets a bit crazy now going into summer, but we'll be back next week to talk what's happened in the world of rugby. And thank you, Mike, for showing up and going beat up that black cat.
No worries, mate. Yeah, we're going to chase the panther.
Okay, so we'll catch us all next week. Rabs signing off. See you later.
Cheers, mate. See ya. Bye.